today, the enlisted five investment vehicles used by the rich. To talk about this topic today, we have our very own MCM Chief Marketing Officer, Mr. Roy Ong. He is someone that one of the person that I look up in MCM, the one that always have the idea of sharing his knowledge with all of us, and whatever that he learns outside, whatever that he got to know about investment or other way of investment or other projects, he will never stop to share with us and never how to say in Malay word sikit-ikut, to share the information with all of us, including the GIC members and also the public.
Okay, hello everyone. We have our friends in the Zoom, which is our GIC members who actually join us every Wednesday. And today I'm talking about what is the vehicles that they use to invest in stock or invest in the real estate and invest in maybe whatever thing they want. Okay, so this is called vehicle, it's not asset. Right. For example, like some people invest in the property, they can invest in the property directly, or they can actually invest in REITs, which is a trust. So trust is a vehicle. Or maybe some of the people, they want to set up the company and then they use the company to invest in that property itself. So we call it as investment holding companies, IHC. So there's a lot of different vehicle in the market that can help you to actually reach your financial goal. Of course, different vehicles have different type of the nature, investment nature. So that's what the topic is all about today. Okay, let us start. So now there's this slide is talking about the businesses. When we talk about the investing, so who do you think that you love most? One is from the Oriental, the Eastern countries, and another one is from the Western country. Everyone knows about them. Is a big name in the two different worlds. Some love Masayoshi because he's also invested in a lot of a very big company, but actually same goes to the Peter Thiel because they also invested into a lot of business. So what's the difference between two of them? Later I will tell you, but first you have to think of yourself. These people, what is so special about they themselves? Masayoshi, of course, when they start accumulate his wealth, he actually started off his business. He actually started the SoftBank. If you know the history, he actually started off the SoftBank. Then he actually acquired a lot of different company using SoftBank. Like for example, he actually acquired those Vodafone. They acquired Spring. So all this company actually acquired under the company, but later on you'll see that he actually expand his wealth by investing in other company. That's why you see that they invested in Alibaba, they invested in those big company like even the Grab. All these company are actually under his portfolio. Same goes to the Peter Thiel. So for them, actually they have a similarity. They are actually heavily involved in businesses. But next, we talk about another group of wealthy people, rich people. One is, of course, Donald Trump. Everyone knows of him because of he is the ex-president of the United States. Another one is Li Shaoqi. So he is also one of the rich people in the Eastern country. So what is also the similarity of both of them? They actually both invested in property, right? But in fact, that if let's say you really want to find the similarity between these four people, actually there's something we need to think of because they're actually heavily involved in business. When we talk about the property, it's not really the property itself, but they build the property empire, and this property empire, they use a vehicle to actually hold them, or they use a vehicle to build them. For example, building the property itself is one of the activities we are talking about today. So I give you another example because many of you will think of another investors. I definitely sure that you will think of this investor because people say that he is the one of the greatest investors at our time. He is Warren Buffett, of course. So Warren Buffett actually he invests in the stock market. So what is the vehicle that he is actually using to actually doing the investment? Do he use his own name to actually invest, or he actually using some investment vehicles to invest, then you have to think from the history of how he gets rich. You can get a lot of information about this, so today I don't want to put too much time to actually talk about his background. Actually, he started to accumulate his wealth by actually start off working in the grocery shop by his dad, and later he actually start to selling the newspaper. Then he's selling the Coca-Cola. He actually put the Coca-Cola in the 6-pack. He actually separate out and then sell it to the other people separately, and then he actually make the money from that. Then later he found out that the way he doing this is too slow, so he start to do another type of a business. Is you see that there is during that time there's one popular game is a pinball. So he start to purchase a pinball machine. He put it in front of the grocery store. Later he put in front of the library. He start to actually do this. And then he sees that this is the business that can make more money than previously what he's doing. So he start to actually use whatever he profited from this business. He start to actually buy another second set of a pinball machine, third set, fourth set, fifth set, sixth set, until one day he think that it's time for him to move forward, because pinball for him actually is cannot achieve his goal. So he sell off his pinball empire. We call it pinball empire because during that time it's already become one of his main business that make most of his money. But he still feel that this cannot achieve his dream, because his dream is to achieve a millionaire before the age of 35. But actually, for the fact that if you know, he achieved the millionaire during that time, the currency US dollar millionaire at the age of 32. So he actually achieved a millionaire. If converted, take into consideration about the inflation, all the things going up, price going up. Actually, he achieved 7 million USD. With at this point of time, actually 7 million. So it's a very great, what I call a great achievement. Any one of you actually can achieve 7 million net worth at the age of 35. But he actually is the one who actually always keep on improving his investment skill. He start with a business first. He run the business first. Then he start to buy and sell his business. Many of you may not know that Berkshire Hathaway is not really set up by he himself. Actually, he bought over a milling factory. Then the company actually lose money. Then he actually turned it into another type of a business. And then so is so-called Berkshire Hathaway today. So there's his history of building one of the largest capital managing company in the world. And then he start to invest in the stock market mainly because of he actually attended a lecture in the university. Then he actually start to learn something there, and then he know that Benjamin Graham teach him those skills to invest. Then he start his journey in the investment. But throughout the whole journey of investment in Warren Buffett, you see that first, running own business, he's already starting running his own business. Why? Because he need capital. If he don't have any capital, just don't talk about how to invest, because you don't have a capital to invest. So he run his own business. Of course, some people actually work from other people to start accumulate the wealth or capital in order to invest. Then later he has the capital already, he start to actually sell his business and buy another business and sell again. So all this actually is before he actually goes into public market. So he have to accumulate his wealth, amplify his wealth at this stage, until one day he thinks that it's a time for him to invest in the stock market. He goes to the stock market. He actually shows, of course he faced a lot of failure, but later he actually acquired the knowledge how to invest during the good time or even during the bad time using the value investing. And then later he start to manage other people's capital. Okay, so this is all the journey he go through. And you will see that he used a lot of different vehicles during this journey. That's why investment vehicle is very important. When you actually buy and sell the business, you are also using the vehicles, which is called the investment holding company, to actually buy and sell the company. All right. So now let us go back to the previous four gentlemen. You'll see that they are actually going through the same thing using the same methods, which is a lot of different vehicles, which later part I will talk more about the vehicles. So regardless of where you are or which industry you are in, maybe you are in the real estate, maybe you are in the mining industry, education industry, healthcare industry, as long as you are talking about the investment, you have to think of the way of how to structure your own things, because no one can actually help you. You are the one who actually understand yourself more. Because like Warren Buffett, he knows that during that time, early years, when he was young, he need the capital. So he start to run his own business, for example, or he start to actually invest in the other people's business. Then later part, when he actually his business grow, then he can actually start to use his own investment vehicle to actually buy and sell the companies. So that's a reason why we need to actually talk about this topic very seriously. All right. Okay. So from the rich man's lens, because the rich people see the things differently. For me, why I talk about this topic, of course, I'm not the rich people. I'm not the rich people, but because due to my business nature, due to my work nature, actually always made up with a lot of high net worth people. And my family, I have a lot of relatives. Actually, they are actually from the rich family as well. I also have met up with lots of people who actually own more than 20 different companies. They actually invest in a lot of different type of assets. Some actually just the rental income themselves, they can actually become a very rich people. So all these people actually, I start to learn from them. I summarize all the things that they told me, and I put into this what we call a journey of rich people, since from the young stages until when he already retired, what is the expectation they want. For example, like the young people, when during the young time, they want to create. So they think of how to use the vehicle to create the things. Then when they want to grow their business, they will use another vehicle to grow their wealth. Then at certain point of the time, they start to think of how to use that vehicle to preserve. Some of the vehicle actually only can help you to create and grow your wealth, but some of the vehicle can actually help you to preserve, but some of the vehicle can actually protect you from actually being sued by the debtors or the creditors. So you need to protect your wealth, so you have to use that kind of vehicle. And the last thing is when you grow old, you want to actually inherit your wealth to your next generation, or maybe multi-generation. Then you need to think of a way to actually make it become one of a system to help to inherit, but at the same time they won't fight for your asset. And it is a sad thing that we always hear about the stories that those rich people, because the offspring or their kids, their children actually fights because of the asset, because of all the things that actually left over, but they don't actually plan it properly. Because this group of people, maybe they do the first 5 things properly, but they miss out the 5th thing, that actually it become a disaster. But of course, nowadays you'll see that rich people now they actually can plan it become better and better, because we have a financial planner who can actually do a very good job on this. So I don't want to touch much on this, but just to actually tell you about the different vehicles that we would like to talk about today. So first, of course, if you want to accumulate the wealth, you can actually work for other people, or you can actually start with your own business, or maybe you can actually start to think of an idea and then make it become a product of yourself. So the first thing is a visionary. You have a visionary of one ideas, you want to actually solve certain thing which is in need in the market. If let's say you can have this kind of a solution or this kind of an idea, then you can go for it, and then you can set up a business to actually expand this idea. So if the market actually will accept your idea, then it will become one of the money generating machine. So the first business, one of it is of course visionary thing. The second one is a source. What do you have? Maybe you have some resources from, for example, like the commodity you can supply to the one of the market that highly demand by the market. So if let's say you can fulfill the market demand without actually entering into the red ocean, which everyone is fighting with each other, and we are supplying the same thing, you have to fight with each other, then it may be a trouble. But if let's say you can actually control the supply, the source of something, actually you can actually amass a huge wealth because of this. The third one is of course affiliate. Affiliate means that you do not have anything. You don't have a visionary idea. You don't have a source. You don't have a service, but other people that you know they have, and they allow you to actually refer the clients to them, and then you become rich because of their business or their service. So this is, of course, this is not limited to, there's a lot of other ways of doing this, but this is what I summarize from wherever I know, or I read a lot of articles and news and the reports of how the people actually become make their first bucket of gold. How they actually achieve that basically is mostly from these three categories. Of course, some people, they are the artists, they start off selling their piece of art. That is a business, but that one is considered a rare case. And some become the celebrity. Those are also considered a rare case. But these three is a main source, main target that people actually become accumulate their wealth, right? So the next one is about other people's business. First is I started off with my own business. Like affiliate, actually, although it's other people's business, but actually, in fact, that you are running the business to refer the people to their business. So that's why it's your own business. But when we talk about the other people's business, that is the vehicle that you want to use. Do you know that a lot of a company that with the same valuation, but when they acquire other companies, 1 + 1 is not equals to 2. Sometimes it equals to 3 or 4 or 5. Sometimes it's 1 + 1 equals to 10. Why it is so is because they use their own company as the vehicle, investment vehicles. Of course, the money is from the company, and then he invests in another company by acquiring them. So that is sometimes we call it as a strategic buyout. Undervalued companies with a great potential that might actually value added to your company. And of course, there's two types of acquisition. One is the leverage buyout. Another one is the management buyout. So two are different way of actually acquiring the company. Either you actually get the money from other people to buy over another company, or you yourself actually is after acquire, you run the company. So there's basically two different types of acquisition, but it still refer to the same thing. You use the company as a vehicle to actually acquire other people's company. Of course, the second one is almost similar as the first one, but it's more like you don't own the full ownership of the second company, the targeted company, but you actually merge these two companies together with the more synergies that you have. You have more possibility for you to grow the valuation of a company. Or second reason people merge is because they need their clients' database. For example, today I'm actually running a manufacturing business. I want to market. I already market into the Malaysia zone, Malaysia territory. But today I merged with another company in Indonesia. They are actually doing the distribution. So when we merge them with them together, then you have another market ready for you to utilize. So there's sometimes, of course, there's a lot of reason why we merge, but this is the second reason we merge. But third is you don't acquire, you don't merge, but you have the partnership to work together with another company. And this one is something that leverage on the external resources to achieve the common goals. For example, like I watched an advertisement recently. There's a crossover between two brands. One is the One Championship, another one is the Food Panda. both of them actually seems like they have nothing to do with each other. But when they collaborate, they're actually targeting different type of the category of people. One is health oriented, which is more like the fitness. But another group of the people, Food Panda, is convenience. So when they combine it together, you have two different type of two different category, but they may actually use the same service that you have from Food Panda or from the one championship. So this is one of a good example. And the third vehicle that most of the people don't really go into it, but if let's say those wealthy families, they definitely will know this, and definitely they will actually use it. So later I will give a lot of example on this topic. First of all is the founder. So if you start a business until certain level or stages, you need to actually think of start to use the family office to run your own business, rather than you do it yourself. But you have to actually get the family office to actually start operate your business due to a few reasons. Of course, one of it is during the operating, you need to consider a few things. One is of course tax. Another one is how actually you want to manage the relationship or maybe the partnership. So all this, when you want to actually manage your business, in order to move them to a next level, you have to start to think of a founder family office, right? The second one is of course the investment, which is very straightforward. When you invest in something in your family, for example, you have a big family, how to actually manage all this wealth, you have to set up the family office. Inside this family office, you need to have a runner, you need to have the investment analyst, you need to have the scout. Means that the person who actually start to look for the good investment opportunities to start run the investment business. So you yourself won't actually involve in it. Why is it so? It's because sometimes different people have a different thought. You may have a certain direction, but you also have an argument with some other party of some other members who actually do not agree with you in terms of investment. So this family office can actually solve a lot of issues. And of course, another one is shareholders, which support the activities of business owning families on the growing and running the business, especially those family business. When you need to run it properly, you have to have the family office to actually help out. So this is, of course, the only three that most of the people actually using it. But you also will see that there is a lot of other type of family office that actually will do certain thing. For example, like philanthropy family office. That family office is just to achieve the purpose of their family goals. Like they want to actually help out the poor people in a certain category, so they set up that family office. That one is for them to actually help the certain community, right? So this is a list. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. You have 8 minutes to go. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So this is a list of people, the family office, which is very famous. You see that Cascade Investment, which is Bill Gates. He is actually this is one of a very famous family office. A lot of people actually study this case study, but actually you see that there's a lot of other rich people. They will set up the family office as a vehicle to actually start to actually manage their investment. Of course, you don't need to become somebody like them, then only you start the family office. If let's say you think that it's time for you to actually manage your assets, investment asset, you have to think of setting up the family office. Okay. The number 4 is the trust, which there will be living trust, spendthrift trust, and testamentary trust. Since due to the time constraint, I just talk about the spendthrift trust. Many times you have heard that sometimes, for example, you have kids. If you pass over your assets to them, or maybe your whatever things you want to pass to them, your investment assets to them, you just worry that they spend all your money or sell all your asset and then actually live a luxurious life. In order to control that, you can set up a spendthrift trust, and this asset they cannot sell. But every month, the income generated by this spendthrift trust will pay to the expenses, their daily expenses, so they can have enough expenses, but at the same time, they can't actually spend the money and live a luxurious life. So this is the reason we have a spendthrift trust. Of course, a testamentary trust is quite a common one. People, if I say I want to leave a will and testament, so this is the trust that help you to actually establish in accordance to your instruction. And number 5 is then only we come to asset, which most of the people you say they think of this, we want to invest this, we invest that. When we talk about the high net worth people, of course they will invest in stock market, they will invest in the companies, they will invest in the bond, they still invest in that. But do you know that actually a lot of them also invest in the gold is one of them, but of course they also invest in those useful metal, because it is useful metal, which like platinum. Of course they invest in gold. They also invest in the collectibles, like they invest in the for example like painting. Some invest in handbags, some invest in the art masterpiece. So that is the collectibles. And of course there's a few reasons. Some is you know why kind of a reason they invest in these collectibles. But also there's another assets that this group of people invest is in exclusive real estate. What does it mean by exclusive real estate is not the common real estate that we are talking about. Is investing in something which is the limited edition in the market. For example, like you have the bungalow facing the lake, which is very difficult to actually get by others, or maybe it's a hyper luxurious kind of a bungalow that actually invested by this group of people. So they rarely actually use it to make the money. The only reason why they buy this kind of a property is because they want to preserve their wealth. So all these 5 vehicles, you'll see that different vehicles have a different purpose and objective. Okay, the last slide that I want to show you is this. So this is something that might blow some of our mind, is because even the Lego itself falls under the investment collectibles, because this is one of the things that normally when we talk about the investment, if you see that this report says that for average return for the Lego collectors, every year is 11%. Actually, it's a very decent investment. Of course, this is a limited edition Lego as well, but this is not really a good example because not everyone actually use it. But it is just to show you that same will applies to the painting, masterpiece, artworks, scriptures, all these kind of things. So some of people actually start to collect the coins, the gold coins, like the Swiss gold coin, which is very famous in the world, which is a limited edition. You cannot find it elsewhere. So rich people will actually look for this kind of a thing to invest in. All right. So as a summary, so based on all this, think of what vehicle that is more suitable to you, and then think of how you can leverage it to actually hit your current goal at your current stage. All right. I will pass over to Ring.
All right, thank you so much, Roy. Thank you so much for the sharing. That was a very full of information and knowledge. Actually, I even learned something new. It's 1 + 1 can equals to a lot of numbers, just not 2. It can be 3, 10, 11. That's how rich people think, I guess, and how they use the vehicle to grow their wealth from a millionaire to billionaire. I hope that the topic does help everyone here to know what type of vehicle that they might able to use. So for that, we'd like to thank you again, Roy. Please hand clap for our speaker.